Welcome back, you guys. It's American Lunchbox Podcast. What's up, guys?
Going good.
Hey, man, listen.
Hey, man,
forget all the intros. Forget all the intros right now. I don't want to hear about it. We just finished watching debates. We're minutes out. What a fucking circus.
Horse and pony show. That's what I would call it.
I don't even know where to, I don't even know where to start.
Go Fifi.
Were there any topics for this thing? Did I miss the whole idea? I mean, who had the hardest job? I mean, I'm just confused.
Chris
right
Wallace
now.
just totally fucked it up, man. I mean,
I'm just so confused right now.
My wife was
did Chris Wallace show up?
Oh my
or
God.
Did he? I mean, what? Okay.
I have a whole new respect for kindergarten teachers now.
Okay, hold on. Were there any topics for tonight? I just want to find out.
There were actually many topics, probably too many for a single debate.
Okay. Did we hear any resolutions thoroughly about any topic in completion from any candidate?
I think so. When Trump actually shut the fuck up for for his 2 minutes, there was actually time for everybody. Yeah, there was time for him to actually get his points across, and I thought he actually did a good job of putting out a little bit more than just the soundbite. So I'll give him credit on that one.
I got to say one more thing before you get. Listen, now you guys know on American Lunchbox Podcast, it's very traditional for me to be able to sit back here and enjoy a cup of espresso. But tonight, guys, I'm going brown liquor. I'm going brown liquor, guys. I swear, man, this is brown liquor time. I'm like, where are the American people? We all need a drink right now, man. You guys, I'm suggesting that you guys get because this is the only thing that's going to calm me down right now.
Right?
Because
this is actually what
I thought about it.
This is actually the stuff that I love about politics. Like, I don't mind the argumentative nature of this or the bad blood of it either. But even I felt drained after
exhausted.
After the first 45 minutes or so of it.
So, okay, let's just break this down, guys. Okay, so first of all, let's just call, and all I want to know is, first of all, who you thought won or lost, because we got to go over to the particulars. I know. Just follow me. You guys out there in podcast land, you guys that can't see us, jump over to our YouTube station. Just type in American Lunchbox Podcast, because it's going to be important tonight that you see what is going on, because the expressions are going to be priceless tonight. So jump over to the YouTube station and check this out. But okay, winners and losers. Chris, who won, who lost?
I don't know who won, because I don't think this election's about who won. Trump's message is that the Democrats are really bad, and the Democrats' message, or Biden's message, is that Trump is really bad. So there's nothing optimistic about this, and unlike 2016 where Trump had an optimistic message, this is all just like Trump is debating. He's doing a psychological trick where he's debating against the DNC and the media, but not Biden. But he's talking to the shell that he considers Biden, and Biden's just ignoring Trump and pretending he doesn't exist. So, I mean, I'm not exactly sure what I'm watching.
Chris, be quiet. I don't even want to hear from you, because you're not giving me the answer. You sound like them tonight. Tim, who won? Who lost?
I don't think it's a secret that I'm probably voting for Biden. But you know what? As far as the debate went, and as far as getting his message across, I'm going to go with Trump.
His psychology is too good,
give it to
George.
him. He got stuff out there. He was able to. Yeah, the whole talking over Biden. I mean, that might play against him in the long run. Maybe he doesn't look presidential. But you know what? He got his points across, and I was sitting there yelling at Biden, going, Get your message out there. Quit playing nice. Quit playing by the rules of the debate, and get some points across. He comes up with, if he says something stupid, if he says something that's not true, get in there and don't let him frustrate you. This isn't the time to play nice.
Well, the problem is that the Dems have put themselves in a kind of a corner in which they've said, this guy is so bad, but we're going to be the nice guys. But there's certain moments in these debates where you got to go for the kill. But if you're constantly telling, but I'm the nice guy, but I'm the nice guy.
There's no points for playing nice with Chris Wallace. I'm sorry. Chris Wallace ain't going to be the electorate here,
Chris, who won? Give me an answer.
From a psychology level, Trump won, but Biden's so up in the polls, I don't know if that would matter. I mean, the fact that Biden showed up and wasn't sleepy, it might be a win all in and of itself,
right?
Okay, I'm gonna call it.
I'll tell you what, George. Hold on, before you do that, let me say one thing. I don't think Trump does good in first debates. He didn't do good in the first debate against Hillary. And I think that's because he's like figuring out the opponent. In the second debate is when he did good. And that might be the case here too, is that he comes out of the gate just throwing these crazy theories out there, some of which are accurate, some of which seem more crazy, and some of which are like, no, that one's for sure. That one makes sense. But it's going to be the next debate when the psychology improves and he continues to pounce on the opponent.
But the problem with that is traditionally the second debate, a smaller amount of people watch it.
Right.
This debate is the one that's going to get people in a position to make a choice for those of them who are not just straddling the party line fence that says it doesn't matter what they say, I'm going to vote for them. For the independents, for the ones who are just not sure about Biden or not sure about Trump right now, those are the people that you're really appealing to at these debates. So I'm going to call it because at this point, Tim is telling me that Trump won. You telling me that you're calling Trump a winner as well. I'm going to call Biden a winner.
I don't know if I'm saying that, George. I'm being wishy-washy.
No, hold on for a second. Did I lose? Yeah, I know we're doing this live, but
I'm sorry about that. Hold on now. Chris. I'm doing a Joe Biden. Hold on. Come on, dude. What I do with this, man? Come on, dude. My Skype cut out, man.
Here's the deal.
Last week it was my turn.
Skype, bro.
I mean, get the Skype right now, Tim. I'm right in the middle of my discussion. I didn't even call. I didn't get a chance to call. And
there he is.
Thank you.
He's back.
Thank you. Now, again, for those of you all who are on podcast land, we're shooting this video as well. And much like last week or the week before, someone decides to tell me that it's more important that they do something else and their video goes out right in the middle of me talking. So I'm going to accept that. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to take another. I'm gonna take another drink of this brown liquor while I say this. Because,
come on, dude. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
All right. So Trump. Tim, you believe that Trump won.
Yeah.
Chris, you believe that Trump won psychologically.
I believe that Trump planted the seeds for. I believe that Trump views this as a trilogy, even though there will be less viewers in the next one.
I'm gonna make this even more confusing for both of you guys.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it more confusing, and you guys can jump on me just like I jumped on you. I'm going to call it a tie.
It's pretty accurate.
I'm going to call it a tie.
Which is pretty which makes it more depressing than it already is.
A tie with no overtime. Okay? We just walk away from the field and we just call this one a wash because honestly, this for me was an opportunity to see how the shit show is going to play out in other ways. So, we're talking about basically 6 separate topics. And let's go over those topics for a second. First of all, we're talking about the Supreme Court. That was the first thing. Second thing we talked about supposedly was the COVID and how it supposedly affected the American people. The economy, race, and violence in the cities.
How about we do this? I'm sorry. Can we give who won each segment then, if you're going to do that?
It doesn't. Yes, we can. But then that's the scorecard. That's the wrong scorecard because you could tell someone who won each quarter, but it's the final score that counts.
Okay, sorry to cut you off.
It's okay. The last one is the integrity of the integrity, of the election. Meaning, obviously, will you support basically the winner, regardless of this? And lastly, And lastly, believe it or not, he threw one in there. He threw climate change in there. By the way, that wasn't a part of the original plan. So he threw climate change in there, And for all intents and purposes, the questions went back and forth. I believe he was fair in his delivery with the questions. So I'm going to call it a tie.
You know what, George? Let's do this because I don't want the audience to be like, Chris doesn't have an opinion here. So just give me each one of those things you just said, and I'll immediately say who I think the winner of the segments.
Okay, hold on. But that's the whole point. Let's talk about the segments, and then you can tell us who won.
Okay.
You can lead. How about that? Okay, so I'm going to skip over some of this shit because I don't think anyone could even understand what was going on. I didn't know that Biden's son was going to be a literal category because he came up at least 7 times in the debate.
At least.
So I didn't even know that they were going to be. I didn't know he was going to be adding at it. Okay, so let's go with the Supreme Court and the whole idea that Trump has the right. Republicans have the right to insert a Supreme Court justice right before the election. Who won that? And I'm gonna let
Trump
you
won
think
it. Trump won it, hands down.
Yep.
And tell us why.
Because people are more worried if the seat doesn't get filled that there'll be a 4-4 split. So people don't care what their politics are. They just want the seat filled.
Biden should have come back with that and sat there and brought up the fact that Mitch McConnell has sat there and said the same BS during the last election, saying that we can't nominate a Supreme Court justice this close to an election, and talk about the hypocrisy of it. And that's what he should have come back with. And I think that would have resonated a little bit better. But
Tim, we already know that.
Yeah.
See, that's the difference. The American people who are watching debates know that this has been a contradiction. But what we needed to hear was them say it was a contradiction, but the reason why. And Trump, much like what Chris said,
Trump's line was elections have consequences. When he said that, I thought, oh, that's going to actually kind of invigorate more people to go out and vote, because elections do have consequences.
But he's talking about what he was talking about was elections in regards to both the Senate race and the presidential race. See, he was making a point of saying, if we control both the Senate and the House, then we have the right to do it. His argument was, and Mitch McConnell's argument was,
we won. There, that was their argument.
Yeah, what the argument back in 2016 is that we got to let the American people, because they thought that the House would change. They thought that by the time the election came that there would be more Democrats and Republicans in seated places, or more Republicans than Democrats back then. But, it's still hypocrisy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was a calculated. It was a calculated risk in 2016, and the Republicans in the Senate they won. They gambled and they won, because Hillary could have won, and they wouldn't have been able to. They would have got a Democrat a liberal judge in there, but they didn't, and so it was a gamble. But then they had to come back and say, okay, 4 years later, if we're in the same boat, they didn't think they were going to be in the same boat, which is why they made all those empty promises. And they got caught.
Excuse me.
George, consider this. It's a little bit of a side note. When we look at this and shake our heads and say these are the best two candidates we could come up with, we are the lucky few who live in the most powerful country in the world and get a vote. But other news networks from around the world cover this. And not only cover it objectively, but they have left and right wing versions of news in their country. These are countries that we don't even know who the president of the country is or any of the politics of that country. But they care a lot about our country. So imagine what this would be like watching it overseas. And you know that whoever is going to be in charge has a lot of indirect power over your life on the earth.
Absolutely.
I think there are more people drinking overseas going, oh my God, what the fuck is this?
Well, I think we're all drinking overseas. I don't think you have to be overseas. My daughter called me. She texted me during the debate and said, Dad, 13 years old. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to me saying, Dad, what are they saying? I mean, remember, this is a big deal presidential election because of where the country is, which takes us to the second topic, which is the COVID. Who won on that?
Biden, hands down.
Tim, what do you think?
I'll go with Biden on that one.
Okay,
now I'm not sure who won the actual arguing, but I'm talking about the issue. It's just the issue. There's almost no way Trump could win this issue.
No.
Because Biden just has the luxury of not being in any elected office when it happened.
That's right. But more importantly, how Trump handled the situation. When Biden talks about him knowing and being on tape, and we all have heard it, for at least the ones who have reached out to hear it, we can. For those people who are Trump supporters, probably, they probably think it was maybe a recording of somebody duped his. Yeah, somebody thinks it's fraudulent. But those of us who have heard it know it's him, know that he knew about the dangers and knew about the consequences. And Biden pointed that out in the beginning. So kudos for Biden for putting that out there very early before Trump started in on his on what makes him, who he is.
The weird thing is, I thought that was going to be a big issue. I was pissed at him for that. And I was talking to a lot of my pretty liberal friends, and they all seemed to think they didn't care at all because they already assumed that Trump is just a scoundrel. So I thought they would be a lot more offended about that than say, no offense, Tim, but the military comments.
Right.
But they weren't, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Biden got on him about the military one. I mean, he was ready to sit there and lose it. I think because he was like, I think he still hasn't forgiven him for calling anybody losers or suckers for joining. So, but the one thing I will give Trump, I mean, he had a line in there where he tried to keep Biden, with his son. He kept bringing it up. Basically, it didn't matter if it was true or not, but he just kept bringing it up and making it fresh. And I give him props for that. I mean, it was in your face, and so Biden couldn't get a word in edgewise. So you brought up the old Biden where he's stumbling and he's trying to sit there and figure out stuff. But I mean, they all came really prepared. I actually give Trump credit for actually doing his homework on this.
Yeah,
one.
I was surprised at that.
One of the best comebacks of the night, I thought, was that. He sat there and brought up Biden's crime bill record, and it's ancient history or whatever. But he brought it up.
Hold on. We got to get to that.
Yeah.
That's the race one that he never addressed it. He never addressed the race of today. But that's another story. Hold on. Stand down on that. Okay, wait. You know what we didn't do, by the way? I'm going to double back. Let's on a scale of 10, 1 to 10, 10 being best. How do you think Chris Wallace did? By the way,
as good as he could have.
On a scale 1 to 10, 10 being best. What do you think?
5,
what do you give Chris Wallace?
5 average.
I would give him a 7.
You give him a 7? I think I would give him an 8. And I think I would give him an 8 because of the hard work that he did. He could have given up very early, but he fought a good fight to the end. He fought a good fight to the end. Actually, not at one point that I felt like
I will give Wallace
he gave up. He could have given up very early.
I will give
Tim,
Wallace one thing. I will give Wallace one thing.
Hold on, Tim. Hold on, Tim. You saw like Trump. Hold on, Tim. Hold on.
Oh, what? What now? What?
He could have given up, but he didn't. He stayed in the fight, and he knew already out of respect, because all of his actions, believe it or not, was respect for the president. If you notice his tone, he said he never, ever sounded disrespectful. He may have sounded a little sarcastic at times, but he was never disrespectful. To the vice president, when the vice president started jumping on board, of course, when he started understanding that that's the way that you had to be. But I'm going to give him an 8. And I'm curious to see what the next moderators are going to look like, having seen what they had to deal with today.
So Trump is like the chicken in Rocky 1, where he had to chase the chicken around the yard. It's not going to look pretty, no matter what happens.
It's not.
I will give Wallace credit. I think he pushed back against Trump a lot more than Biden did. I mean, there were times I'm sitting there going,
Trump even said, I'm debating you.
I don't care.
Well, hold on.
Can we elect Wallace as the president?
Tim, you gave him a 5. What the fuck? You gave him a 5.
I'm upgrading him now. It's a 6 now. How's that?
But Tim also gave Kobe Bryant a 0, so he's a hater.
Man, he shit on the memorial, man. I don't even know why I'm even asking you. So why do you give him a 7? Chris?
Because I thought his professionalism and his preparation were a 9 or 10, but I thought I don't look. You're not going to get The Rock to moderate the debate, but I thought there's almost no way to mitigate Trump's. Like, you got to almost out alpha Trump to keep him in line, to keep him in a box, to keep him in some sort of confined debate space. And Wallace is just. I'm not saying there's a reporter that would be better at it, but it's a really tough job to be able to control Trump in terms of alpha energy, or just get him to focus.
Well, you know what? I'm very understanding of what Trump is doing and how he has worked, and what a person would have to do is be a bigger bully, and being a bigger bully means that you have to be disrespectful. You got to shut them down.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, then he's going to continue to drive the nail into the hole with his bare hands if he has to. Forget a hammer. He's going to use his fist to get that nail into that coffin. So that's what both Biden...
George, you'd be a good moderator.
Well, no, because I would tell him to shut the fuck up.
That's why you'd be a good moderator.
But that wouldn't be much like he's not being presidential. I wouldn't be a good moderator. See, that's the difference. It's like
But Chris Wallace is talking about Mr. President as if this guy doesn't eat Cheetos all day. These are weird times we live in.
I understand, but we can't. It's difficult to step to the lower level of the totem pole when you're dealing with the American people and the seriousness of all the things. You still have to take all these topics seriously because they're dealing with people's lives. We're talking about the first free country in this world. If I'm telling him to shut the fuck up on TV, it just sends out the wrong message to the world, to our children.
Yeah, but this is the fundamental question of this whole thing is that you have these guys who are playing a game from yesteryear saying, don't you want yesteryear to come back? Biden included. And then you have Trump saying, there's a whole new world, baby. So there's just two different conversations taking place here.
Tim, what say ye?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to sit there and really kind of give a scorecard to all this. I mean, yeah, like I said, I give it to Trump for being prepared. And apparently, he had a lot of prep time, and people, he didn't just go to his go-tos. Yes, he had his fake the fake news and his little go-tos, but I thought he came up with some really new stuff, which I was actually kind of impressed with. But yeah, I think like what Battle was saying was that. This debate, it's not for people that have already made up their mind. It's not for the Republicans. It's not for the Democrats. It's for the undecideds, and I think he scored some points, and I think that's what does worry me is that, and I was sitting there yelling at Biden. It's like, come on, Biden, score some points. Don't worry about playing nice. Don't worry about, but Trump would sit there and it's like, okay, they had their 2 minutes and then Biden would have his 2 minutes. Biden would be all very respectful when Trump had his 2 minutes of uninterrupted. And then, Trump would sit there. He'd at least get a zinger in there. He'd get some point across. And that's the thing. It was just little shots and little things that would sit there and just, he'd make his points. He'd make them. And that's what's going to score votes. Even if it's fake, even if it's not true. That's all Biden could say was not true. And it's like, yeah, it wasn't true, but you know what? He got it out there. It's kind of like an attorney who knows he's going to get overruled by a judge, but he gets it out there in front of the jury just to plant the seeds of doubt. And that's what Trump was trying to do. And he did a really good job of it. What
did Trump say? Don't ever use the word smart in front of me. Don't ever refer to yourself as smart.
Hey, he had some great one-liners. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
His one-liners are good.
Oh my God.
But that goes to show you how much of an entertainer he is versus a politician.
That's why I'm watching this.
How much of a need he needs to be able to have the position of the know-it-all. So basically what you're saying is if you're telling me that I'm not smart, then you're telling me you're smarter than me. So is that what you're saying right now? Trump, if you want to go over your high school and college and all of that, no. But what he's doing is he's throwing him off. He's keeping
right.
him. He's keeping his mobility. What do you call it? He's keeping his equilibrium off.
Right. Yeah.
So he's unable to answer a question straight because a lot of what happened tonight was Biden answering a dart. Trump would send a dart, and instead of ignoring it and staying on focus, he would put that dart in his answer. He would address it. And that was not a part of what Biden had prepared for, the answer. So it really became. It wasn't even a tug of war.
Yeah, Trump definitely
wasn't even a tug of war.
Trump definitely set the pace, and they were playing his game from the start. So yeah, like I said, that's why I give it to Trump on the points department. So,
and right, that's his message. His message is to, hey, if I'm doing this to this poor bastard, what are these dictators going to do to this poor bastard?
Well, there was I think
that's the message he's sending. He don't care. It doesn't matter what he's saying. It's the energy.
Did you ever see the movie? What was it? Nixon Frost.
No.
Good movie, but it's about a reporter getting to interview Nixon after he's left office. And,
I've seen it.
Yeah, and the reporter is sitting there, trying to put Nixon on trial, give him the trial that he never had. but he's the reporter at the beginning of the first couple of days of the interview. He's not aggressive enough. He's given Nixon all this opportunity to plead his case and dominate the interview. And that's basically what we saw, I think, during this debate, is that Trump was running the show. And basically, Biden was just trying to play catch up. And he got a few good lines in. He got a few good licks in there. But, you know, I think dominantly, I think Trump dominated it. Now, whether it'll mean anything at the election, I don't know. We'll see.
Might not.
It's very interesting that you just compared a crook to a crook.
There you go.
All right, let's move forward. Okay, so what about the economy?
Trump.
Who won on the economy one?
Trump, yeah.
Okay. Now, why? Because I think Biden won on that.
Because Trump's problems are as ill-suited as Trump was in the healthcare sphere and the emotionality sphere to handle COVID, which he was the worst thing that could have ever happened to him. Before that time, there was no indicator that he, by his own doing, in any way was going to fuck up the economy. I mean, you could say, oh, he's going to boom it till it crashes, but this was a crash that didn't come from within. This came from China, as Trump likes to say. So there's no proof that he had broken the economy by himself, and there is proof that he's doing everything he can, and that he's desperately wanting to bring it back as fast as possible. Yeah, he's not going to, unlike Bush and Obama, he's not going to watch Sports Center every night at 5. He might watch Fox News the whole time while he does this, but he's going to be making phone calls and shouting at people the whole time.
I thought Biden made some good marks. I mean, he made sure to sit there and hit him with the with him playing golf every weekend or whatever. I mean, that was at least one good line in there. But yeah, the one problem I had with Biden and his economic plan was that, you know, he was just blah, 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 blah about, oh, we've got this tax plan and it'll pay for itself and blah, blah, blah. You know, he should have sat there and fought up. The only what he should have came out with was, Trump, the only reason you have the good economy, the only reason the economy was good to begin with was because me and Obama, through our policies, went out there and gave you the greatest economy in the world. That if he would have come up with that one, I think that would have been better, other than just the, I've got a 10-point plan, it's going to do this and that, and then the economy and the green, it just gets lost. I don't think anybody cared.
Well, I think Biden did a great job at least setting the tone for where we are. You see, you guys are talking about before the COVID. I'm talking about, when I listen to Biden, I think about what's happening right now. And I think about the American people who are suffering right now. And Trump doesn't want to talk about that. He doesn't want to talk.
But that's not an economy. That's a healthcare issue, not an economy issue.
No. It's definitely an economy issue because Trump wants to open it. You made mention of the fact that he wants to get this thing open because he knows that one thing will put him in one point in his scorecard. But what we're talking about is a rush, possibly because of the COVID, to do it an election year. This is the issue when you're talking about not understanding how this virus is going to work. Not because you want to be president, because it's going to affect the American people and their lives, not now, but until there's a virus, until there's a vaccine. So we can talk about wanting to open up the governments. We could talk about that right now. But what I liked was this fact that Biden was honest with the American people.
Yeah.
He was honest and said, this is where we are. This is what we're going through right now. And this president wants to do this because he wants to be president. He wants to win this election. So he wants this scorecard. But he doesn't understand what the ramifications are going to be if he opens everything up too quickly.
Well,
we already know based on history in 1918. And we already know what could happen.
All three of us have a job right now. If you wouldn't you take a chance? Wouldn't you rather work and be careful with the COVID? I mean, there's some people who heavily resent the Dems, and Joe Biden's at the head of that ticket right now because of the lockdowns.
It is.
Trump knows that. So he's playing the bet that people are more resentful about the lockdowns than fearful of the COVID.
And that's got to be a lie because 200,000.
It doesn't matter if it's a lie. It matters if people feel a certain way.
Listen, if I have been unemployed before, so unemployment doesn't scare me. My health scares me. Just to answer your question,
you haven't been unemployed during a depression.
It doesn't matter. I've been unemployed. I've been without a job.
I've been unemployed during the recession, and I knew I put myself into bad situations just to make the next week's.
But I've never been sick with a disease that doesn't have a cure.
and you still haven't been sick with that disease.
That's right.
That's the problem.
So my point is that there are people who are making that choice, and they're making choices that are based on the fact of their lives. Yes, I'm fortunate that I can work from home, no doubt, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that I'm not considerate of my fellow man or my fellow woman.
Well, in this way, Trump is very pro-choice.
Okay. I'm gonna let that go.
All
right, let's move on. Let's move on. All right, what about my favorite, race?
To me, it's a tricky one because it goes
violence in the cities.
Tim, you first.
Well, like I said, Trump definitely came prepared, and I thought he actually had a great line, and he brought up some of the problems that Biden and Obama had in race relations when they were in office. Because here's Biden sitting there saying, "Oh, we're going to bring everyone together, and we're going to have a kumbaya moment, and everything's going to be great," and then Trump comes back with that and says, "Well, let's take a look at your record. Let's take a look at you had Ferguson, you had all these other incidents." And so like I said, I give him credit for being prepared on that one. But at least Biden held Trump to the fire and sat there and said, will you sit there and denounce white supremacists? Will you denounce the Proud Boys or any of these other people? And Trump, of course, fumbled the hell out of that.
Well, the Proud Boys are
stand
not
down.
white supremacists.
What he said, stand down. He said he told his people to stand down.
Yeah.
The Proud Boys are not white supremacists, so
it doesn't matter. Whoever he was talking to, he told them to stand down. What does that mean?
Right. Well, here's the big issue.
I said, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. What does that mean, stand down?
What that means is that Trump wants this issue to go away and not have to talk about it as much as possible. And for that, I'm giving this debate section to Biden. However, on a personal level, I feel I agreed with a lot of the things that Trump said. I think that critical race theory is somewhat bigoted and toxic to our culture. But these are things that are so heady that the general public, one, doesn't know about it, and two, might not want to find out. Because with racial things that I'm perfectly fine jumping into and talking about, and Trump seems to be as well, it's so sticky that I think, maybe I'm being elitist by saying this, I think the average person just wants everything to be nice. And the fact that Joe Biden offers that nice, like, let's all get along, and no, we all got that rhetoric of Joe Biden, I think might be effective, even though I personally don't agree with his stance on this versus Trump's.
What's funny, Chris, is that
I don't know what you just said, Chris.
I said is I'm giving the point to Biden, even though I disagree with him.
I know, but hold on for a second. So, what's the alternative to what you just said? You act as if Trump gave you an alternative. Did Trump give you an alternative?
Yes, absolutely.
What's
Here's the problem.
Okay,
two things right up front. Do you condemn white supremacists, but then you put like the Proud Boys? Trump knows that they are not. Maybe you could say selfishly, he sees them as supporters, but now he's being put in a weird spot in the moment. The question is being phrased. The general public doesn't know that they are not. Now, if you want to call that group sexist, you might have an argument, but they are not racist. But if the questions are being phrased as such, in general, he knows that that's a sore spot for him and a spot that he doesn't have time to say, and he doesn't have the ability to do what I'm doing right now. Hold on, George. Secondly, critical race theory is those diversity trainings you get at work, which are becoming more pernicious. You, Chris, on that one. Not less pernicious. And he is fighting back against that, and I actually think that's a cool idea.
Chris, what alternative?
Alternative to what?
You made mention to Biden being, let's get together, and that being rhetoric. That's what you just said right now.
Biden's telling you, hey, let's go back to sleep on this. All these issues you won't have to worry about anymore.
Chris, hold on for a second, because you made a point. I'm repeating your point.
All right.
I'm asking you a question about what you just said. You quoted as saying Biden was saying, let's all come together. And you call that rhetoric. You said that for the most part, was how Biden looked at race. My question to you, wait. Okay. My question to you is, what was Trump's alternative, not your alternative, tonight? I'm talking about the debate. What was Trump's alternative to Biden is my question.
It's the alternative. This issue is the main contrast. Biden saying, "Hey, that wound looks pretty bad."
I don't. You already told me what Biden said. I'm asking you what Trump said tonight. What did Trump say tonight?
We're talking about the race issue. Trump said he's looking to end the critical race theory training that's going on inside of the federal government.
No. I'm talking about understanding race relations. The question was about the black community. And he made a point of mentioning to Biden about the 94 crime bill. He didn't talk about black relations. The word black never even came out of his mouth. So I'm asking you, as from my ears, what did he say about black relations?
Well, he said that the economy was strong, the things that he always says.
So what I don't understand is that when you talk about Biden saying, "Oh, he, this is his way of handling. Let's all get together. Let's figure this thing out." And I'm asking you.
You're
tonight,
asking me a question, but you're not fully. I don't know how to answer the question. You obviously have an answer in your head. So just say what you want to say.
I don't have an answer. That's why I'm asking you. My question is, I didn't hear an alternative. That's my whole point. I didn't hear Biden have an alternative. You were able to tell me exactly what Biden said, but I'm asking you, what did Trump say in regards to race relations to blacks? And the answer is that I didn't hear anything. And I'm asking you, maybe you heard something because you were able to.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Trump veered the conversation into his own talking points that happened to deal with race.
Okay,
and that's what I'm responding to because that's where he drove the conversation. But most of the night was him driving the conversation to.
But he didn't talk about race. So he didn't talk about race. Okay, all right, fair enough. So you give this.
I wasn't understanding. I thought you were like trying to tie me up on something.
No. Maybe I missed it because I didn't.
Okay, here's how I see it. I'm going to just tell you how I see this very issue. I'm giving the points to Biden because people don't want conflict. But I don't care about conflict. And what I see in certain regards on this racial stuff, especially how these woke people are sliding in here with these racial theories, and you see all these people who are chanting most about Black Lives Matter, and a lot of them are all white kids that are rich. So something's obviously wrong here. Because
they can't be white people. That's all we've ever asked for is support. We asked for white people to support us. We asked for that because we know we can't fight this alone. Malcolm X said it. Malcolm X said, "You could be a part of it, but no, it's important that white people join us. They are the status quo. They are in the majority."
Biden is offering a Band-Aid on this situation, and Trump is offering chemotherapy. You could either want to feel nice or not want to feel nice, but the problems might still be there with the Band-Aid. That's how I see it. All right, how I see the difference here.
All right. I didn't hear shit from Trump.
No, actually, I agree with you on that one, George. I think he just veered the conversation away. And just
that's what I'm saying. I give the point to Biden. It's a weak spot for Trump. He's very bad at talking about this stuff because he knows it's a negative, and he desperately wants even a percentage more of black voters. So there's certain times where he's being coy or shutting his mouth or pivoting where it just looks like he's being evasive.
And I think he missed an opportunity when he was talking about the sensitivity training, because I think we've all had to go through it. And I was totally hearing Chris in my mind when Trump was talking about that, how some of them are outdated and some of the questions they ask, you're like, what the fuck are you asking about? And he could have sat there and he said, I've gotten rid of it, because he could have said something like, I've ordered a revamp of it, saying that they're outdated and they don't reflect the culture of society today. And just ended it with that, because he could have said, I want a more. If he was just a little bit more eloquent, he could have sat there and saved that one a little bit. But I think he fumbled it.
But the critical race theory that those things are based on is saying that there's some fundamental rot in the way that our country is formed.
It is.
George, I don't think, George, you're a little too rich to. You're a little too rich for me to take your argument
You keep bringing up my pocket. You keep bringing up my pocket, as if I'm not a black man. As if I came out here with money in my pocket. Yeah. I've earned it. I've worked hard.
George, doing like the city of Seattle and Portland and all these cities are doing, sending people away to retreats to accept their white privilege is not helping. The data shows that these things don't help at all. These trainings don't help at all.
I'm talking about me. Well, you talk about my pocket as if I haven't worked hard to get where I am.
Yeah, and great thing there was opportunities for someone who wants to work hard to get ahead in this.
And don't forget, I've been the only black person in a room many times. 162 cubicles. I've worked hard for it.
Yes,
so
I agree.
When you talk about, but don't forget, Don't get sassy, because you don't know. I have been a black man all my life, and I've had to do a song and dance to get to where I am. And I have a privilege, but I'm not the majority. I am the minority. Look around right where we are right now and tell me I'm not a minority.
And sending white people to a retreat to talk about how privileged they are when they're just working class or lower middle class doesn't solve any of that. It's just a side note.
And I tell you that having no sensitivity doesn't work any. If it takes
I agree. I agree with that.
Hold on.
So Tim had it. It's the ideology that's being infused into this stuff that is the bad thing. It's not the sensitivity stuff. It's the fact that the ideology is negatively viewing the United States in general. We don't have
to. And I understand that
because people are just going to resent these trainings because they like the country they live in.
Well, I don't think it's just race training either. I mean, it's like a lot of the stuff that we have to get with HR as far as like training goes, like sexual harassment and all that. It's like they don't do a damn thing. They're mandatory, but you sit there and you read it and you're like, you know, if somebody is a scumbucket and feels like, you know, using their power and authority to sexually harass somebody, they're going to do it no matter what. So all the sensitivity training in the world isn't going to stop any of that. But yeah, a lot of them, I mean, we've sat there and gone through a lot of this training and you're like, what is this? This is so poorly written. This is so bad. This doesn't reflect reality today. It's because, you know, I think Trump even said it, you know, that you pay these people millions of dollars to sit there and come up with these programs and they're not effective. And so, yeah, I would fully support, you know, revamping it, not having it at all. No, you definitely need to have you need to have something. You need to have some kind of training so people can be aware of what is not, you know, not appropriate or not cool in the workplace anymore. And I don't have a problem with that. And I think even Biden even kind of said the same thing. It's like, you know, people are, it's not that they're sensitive, but people, you don't know what could be offensive to somebody, and you know that kind of thing is okay. It's okay to sit there and be aware of it. I've gone through some of that training and gone, oh, okay, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know we're not supposed to say that anymore. Or I didn't know. Up a
good word, aware. I don't think even Biden is aware of how these things have gone from the nice place Tim's talking about to progressively, good choice of words there, a more pernicious view of the country and how resentful. Dude, when I see some of that stuff, I'm like, should I just I don't want to do this.
Right. Well, and I understand that part. We've obviously been through the same kind of training. But for me, you know, it's about having a component in place. You see, that's what it's about. It's about having something to work from or work with. And I admit, yeah, you're right. Some of it is bullshit. You're right. But to say that we're getting rid of it and not replacing it with something else that's better, or we're looked at the research, and the research shows that we need to, you know, maybe hire better people. You know, just because, I mean, people who create and make things don't always know what's best for them. You know, I mean, so
we both agree, George. We both agree the real racist is Tim. So let's just move on to the next.
Exactly. Fucking Tim. All right, let's go ahead. So also too, we got the integrity. All right, the integrity of the election. And we know what this is about: voting ballots.
I give it to Biden.
Yeah.
It's just too conspiratorial. There are examples and there are things that need to come out, but for now, no one knows, and it's just too. It's too much of a rabbit hole for Trump for the moment. And,
but he loves rabbit holes because it allows him to just spew out. That's all that was. Well,
both parties are doing it. It's just that Biden's not doing it. Trump doesn't have his subordinates do his dirty work. That's the big problem he has, is he does his own dirty work.
Right. I was concerned because Biden sat there and he said, or not Biden, sorry, Trump sat there and said, you know, that he wants his people to be closely monitor the elections and go out there and look. It's like, wait, you're talking about intimidating people. You're talking about, you know, illegally, protesting it. That's illegal. You know, it's like, I mean, yeah, you have election monitors. Right. You have people that are there specifically hired to make sure that everybody's, you know, doing their fair share, doing what's right. But you don't want Joe Blow on the street to be sitting there going, hey, I don't like you. I don't like, you know, getting people out of the line and intimidating folk. And I think that's what Trump is secretly wink, you know, telling these people.
Because he's not talking about poll watchers. Because he's not talking about poll. He's talking about sending out
the ballots.
But he's talking about individuals going out and just checking to make sure. He's not talking about poll watchers. Because why would a poll watcher who's been hired to watch a poll be kicked out of a poll?
There is some stuff that came out in the last week that supports some of the conspiratorial stuff, specifically in, I believe it's Minnesota. that basically there was a pay scheme where they would go collect the ballots from the old people in nursing homes, and that person would get a few $100 to like either throw out the ballots they don't like or help the old people fill it out. So look, there is some meat to it, but it's just not enough meat this close, and not enough is gonna. I don't know if enough is gonna come out about it that would sway anything.
Well, I don't think so either, because
both parties are creating doubt, though. This is a both sides thing. It's not just Trump. Both sides are doing that. I mean, the Democrats have said this guy's a Russian agent for 3 years or 4 years.
Now, so when we're talking about the debate as a whole, right? There are some topics that came up, obviously, that weren't a part of the debate, i.e., taxes. In regards to Trump's taxes, we spent some time on the fact that he brought that up. Chris brought that fact that he never, did he pay? He put him right on the spot. Did you pay, $720, 2016 and 17 for your taxes? And the answer was I paid millions in taxes. I paid millions
for the businesses, but not for himself.
Right? Not income tax. So the question becomes is this important? When we're talking about the integrity of our president, are we talking about finding loopholes? So is it okay to rape and exploit the system for loopholes?
Weirdly, sorry.
Go ahead.
Weirdly, I think Trump wins this. And the reason I'm saying that is because this is old news. It was the same thing that was posed 4 years ago with Trump and his taxes. Everyone knows he's going to scam as much as he's allowed to scam.
That's right.
And it brings up the age-old Trump question of, you've got these people like Hillary and Biden and all these people in Washington that have over the years
accumulated wealth.
Yeah.
And accumulated wealth in a way that they took a little bit that might have fucked over everyone big. Where Trump's argument is, I did the best to cover my own ass because I'm selfish towards myself, but that has nothing to do with you.
I understand.
So he could say, I stole millions, but these guys stole billions from everyone.
I understand, but it's income tax, not your corporation, your income. Everybody.
It's just
I like the fact
it's a rabbit hole for the Dems. It's just a rabbit hole for the Dems.
Well,
I give that one to Trump.
No, I'm gonna give it to Biden on that one. I think he held his feet to the fire and kept pushing him and asking him, when are we going to ever see your tax returns? When are we ever going to see them? Of course, Trump came back with the same thing. Oh, I'm under audit. But we already
forever he's under audit,
which is bullshit,
right.
Which is BS.
I mean, this is the same guy who said, Obama, show me your birth certificate. This is the same guy.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the same dude, man. Come on now.
Yeah.
This is it. Stop it, Trump. All right, what about what now? Obviously, the hot topic of the night, which is none of my business, but Hunter Biden.
Well, that wasn't a topic.
I know, but I mean, but it's a part of the debate. I'm just wrapping it up right now. I'm wrapping it up because I'm saying
it does have to do what we were talking about before, and it's a winning issue for Trump. That corruption is not just corruption from the Philippines or some random country. That corruption is with China. That Biden family getting money stuff is from China. That's such a winning issue for Trump because it ties together with everything.
Yeah, I think Biden missed a golden opportunity because Trump kept going after his kids, and Biden should have just went after Trump about his kids. Like, well, what about your kids making $700,000 a year advising you and taking illegal funds off the government? I mean, he missed a golden opportunity.
What about your kids when that hooker was running down the stairs and you threw the chainsaw? Oh, that was American Psycho. I'm sorry.
But the point is that,
God, it was a golden opportunity too.
All it is the equilibrium. It's to throw him off. And tonight, I believe that Trump threw everything out there to see what would work. He did his best to get him to act like Sleepy Joe, to see if he would not respond. And unfortunately for Biden, he did have his weak moments where he just looked frustrated because he's not used to having a clown in the room in a serious debate. And I'm not calling the president a clown like we're used to seeing. I'm not talking about the one with painted faces.
He's a class clown. He's a class clown.
He's a distraction.
Yeah.
He's a distraction. And so it's easy when you are in a town hall by yourself and you can talk to people and you can figure out things and you can have people wave their hands and it's easy. But imagine you put a clown next to you and have a serious debate with a clown. It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's like having a conversation with a psychopath. And a serious conversation because you want it to be serious. You're hoping that you'll be able to get this point out so that you can make it clear what you're really wanting to say. But after every other sentence, it's something. It's something. Yeah. And what it does is it taints, again, another asterisk. It taints the whole process for the American people. But it's fun to watch.
It is fun to watch.
I enjoy it, yeah.
It's fun to watch.
Give it that.
It's better than, and I hate to say it, it's better than watching football.
Right.
I thought when I was watching it, I said I could watch this forever. If this went on for like 3 or 4 hours, I would be cool watching it.
Well, like I said about Trump, if the man didn't have nuclear codes, I'd be laughing my ass off about the guy. I mean, he's a wrestling manager. He's entertaining to watch. There's no doubt about it. The problem is lives are at risk for all the decisions that he makes. And that's, that's why you just sit there and you cry or you have a drink like George is having. And I think I might have one after this.
Oh, George, new rule. No drinking on Skype. We'll get banned.
Really?
Are you serious?
Oh, no.
Oh shit. God. I'm finishing this now.
So
was that all the topics? Or no, there's climate change, or was there one more?
One more, climate change. That was the last one. Climate change.
I want to know where
Biden obviously won that one. Biden killed.
I want to know where Forest City is at. Is that like near? Is it Russia?
Yeah.
I thought it was indoor. I don't know. I thought it was. I mean, Trump was definitely making up some wacky ass shit.
Wait, Tim. For
What's
the record, would you, for everybody out there in podcast land, tell us who your PA is over there.
Oh, that'd be my wife, Susan, who's, she's out there looking at her phone. She's chiming in every once in a while.
Does she want to tell us how the debate went for her?
I mean, we got 5 minutes left.
All right. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Let me get her on the headset here. Hold on. Stand by.
George, I wasn't trying to be too sassy before, but remember when I told you I was part Scandinavian?
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
I also wanted, to stick in line with the racial thing. I am also black from the waist down. I just
live podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Live podcast.
And tell how you feel.
That's my ninja. First of all, let me give you the proper introduction, ladies and gentlemen, in podcast land. Those of you all who are listening and not watching, we just got our first guest to the show. She's the better half, of course, of the Taylor duo. I want to give you guys a hearty warm welcome to Sue Taylor. Thank you, Sue, for stopping by. Sue, now, Sue, now I know that you are the better half, without a doubt. So
yes.
With that being said, go ahead and give us what would be your rendition, if you will. Now, we only have 5 minutes left, so give us your rendition of basically how you felt about this first debate for the president between Trump and Biden.
Okay, if we were playing by Trump's rules, Trump won. If we were playing by the debate rules, Biden won because Biden didn't interrupt Trump when Trump was speaking. Trump did the same thing he did to Hillary back in 2016. He interrupted, he condescended, and he did his typical Trump tactics during the whole debate. What was it? What did somebody say? I can't remember the word they used now because I've forgotten because I've been drinking too much because it was a drinking game tonight.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
So we all won.
Brown liquor, hopefully. Brown liquor.
I think that's a great point that Sue brings up is that really, and this is the reason why we were being indecisive, is that we're just more and more living in two different worlds. And depending on what worldview you want to look at this through is depending on who won this thing.
Exactly. You have to look at it through colored glasses, and you have to remove yourself from both parties at this point. Trump didn't bring anything new to anything. It's always his talking points. It's always his typical BS of not answering a question. Biden brought facts. I hear my mother back here making comments too.
Oh, we got another one. We got a second guest to the show, podcast land. Listen, we got a whole room full of folks over there at the Taylor Mansion.
I'm hearing the word mockery in the background.
Mockery.
Oh, it's not mockery. It starts with an F and rhymes with mockery.
You could say.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, listen, we'll appreciate
too.
Mom too. We'll appreciate Mom giving us her rendition of what happened.
She's of the well, let's see. She's in the general age demographic of both presidential candidates. So yeah, she said fuckery is what she said.
Yeah.
Sue, who would you say, Sue, if you had to say there's very little independence at this point, but do you think any of those independents are swayed towards one side or the other based on this?
I don't think the debates will sway a voter either way. I think the voters need to do more investigation into a candidate to find out what the candidate really stands for. We all know what Trump stands for, and that's Trump's pocketbook. Biden does have some skeletons in his closet from his years in politics. He has apologized for them. He has attempted to make amends for them. I give him kudos for that. Trump often says that he's never made a mistake. He never lies. He never jokes. And yet he said tonight that one of the comments he made was sarcasm about injecting bleach. But
hey, don't knock until you tried it.
But Trump never lies. I can't. You got to take it with a grain of salt, a slice of lime, and a shot of tequila. But
George is way ahead of you.
No, he's behind me because I started this way before.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm two
Started in
whiskeys
2016,
in.
I think.
I'm behind.
I'm 2 whiskeys in tonight already.
I need to
Nice.
edit and have some beer.
Nice.
So,
Nice. Well, Sue, listen, Sue, thank you so much. Listen, we
This
appreciate
is the woman on the street interview.
Thank you so much for your input. We thank you for being our first guest on the show. This is a treat for us, and we're almost done tonight. So we're going to get out of your house. We're going to get out of your living room in just a second. Thank you so much.
I'll give you back to the mister. Here you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Out there in podcast land, jump over to our YouTube station. It's American Lunchbox Podcast. Jump over there and see this next interaction with the Taylors.
And Tim, if you're really for Trump, just blink 2 times, Tim. Okay.
That's right. What I often say is that they're using the same bandwidth, but I don't know if they're on the same page. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. So, hey guys, okay. So listen, it was a debate. We did it.
It was.
We listened to the bullshit. We ingested it, and then we regurgitate the bullshit right back out.
True.
So basically. I'm gonna go with what Sue said. Was I swayed? Nah, not too much, but I was greatly entertained.
Yeah.
What's your last words on this, Chris?
It was more entertaining than most sports and or wrestling things at the moment. And I'm real happy to watch the next one. And I like that I do like that they're trying to make these debates a little more palatable. Because remember last time there was like 10 different moderators, and it's this and this and this and this, and just this was a little more basic, and I kind of like that better. Yeah,
well, we got to see what the next one looks like. I mean, this was just Fox rendition. Right. We don't know what CNN is going to do. CNN, they're ego driven over there. They're going to have 3 guys, a woman and 2 women and a man, because it got to be a balance. So we got to wait and see how that's going to look. But Tim, what say ye at the end?
I was disappointed they didn't shake hands. But other than that though, I can't wait to see I can't wait for the next one.
I like that they didn't
bring on the sequel. Bring on the sequel.
Well, guys, we're about just over our time. We try to hit this thing in an hour, but I think we're going to be a little over today. But I appreciate you guys. I love you guys as always. We've done it again. This is episode 11, by the way, and this is the presidential debate. We saw what we call Trump, and we saw what we call Biden. I finished my drink, got my liquor in.
Nice.
And we're going to see you guys next week.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
All right, you guys. Man. American Lunchbox Podcast.
Subscribe. Hit that like button.
Hit that like button.
Come on, man.
Here's the deal.
What a bunch of malarkey.